Hi, my name's Don Petersen. I'm one of the volunteers here at the High Plains Western Heritage Center. We're hoping to give you a little tour of the place, and we hope we can get you to come on up to Spearfish and take a look at our museum. One of the coolest stories, this is a tombstone that was recently removed from Rose Hill Cemetery. It was the first grave on Rose Hill at the cemetery. He died in 1876. He was a drifter. They didn't know his name. He was frozen to death during a blizzard. And so the stone says Levi Blizzard. He was wearing a pair of Levi's at the time they found him during a blizzard. So that's the name that's on his tombstone. And they've just recently replaced the stone with a new monument up there. This part of our display shows the transition between porcupine quill work and beadwork for clothing. The shirt on the left, the shirt itself is actually probably the second or third shirt that the quill work is on. It took so long to do patterns using porcupine quills and stitching that into the fabric that when the shirt wore out, you'd cut it off and put it on a new shirt. And so all of this yellow and white is made from porcupine quills that were flattened, wrapped around sinew, and then sewn on the garment. But once the French fur trappers came into the area, one of the very first things they used for trade was strings of beads, and the native population readily adopted those as a source of decoration. And the shirt we have over here is commonly called a scalp shirt. The hair on it is human hair. We believe this shirt to be Lakota, and that's important because the Lakota used family members' hair rather than scalps to decorate their shirts. But most of the other tribes in the area used actual scalps. We have a couple of ceremonial pipes also in this case, and you'll see that they're separated, the bowl from the stem, and that's because they're not being used at the moment for a religious ceremony. They're not being smoked to send prayers to the gods. And so when they were joined together, they became holy instruments, and they were used to communicate. But then when the ceremony was over, they were always separated, and the stem was kept with the bowl, but not connected to the bowl. And then very often, as we have here, the bowl was stuffed with sage. You're always hearing fun stories about what it was like to live here. I didn't know until a few weeks ago that wagon trains used to come through Spearfish on the way to Idaho and onto the West Coast. We had a Native American attack on a wagon train just between here and Beulah. Never heard that story before. So museums like this put you on the right track to learning those things about your history. This is the stagecoach that ran from Spearfish to Deadwood 7 days a week. It operated until 1913. It was one of the latest operating stagecoaches in the country. It was restored, I suppose about 20 years ago now. It used to sit in Spearfish City Park, and they became concerned about its continued survival, and we're fortunate enough to have it here. They used to sell 9 tickets to go from Spearfish to Deadwood, and if you look inside, you're lucky if you could put 6, and that was probably with 2 kids. Everybody else would have to ride on top. One guy might get lucky and get to ride with the driver. The shotgun on the wall over here was carried by Johnny Slaughter, who was reputedly one of the best stagecoach drivers anywhere. He was carrying this shotgun when he was ambushed a couple of miles south of Deadwood, and he was killed during that holdup by a guy named Randy McKimmey. There's a copy of the wanted poster hanging on the wall that was issued for those people who were responsible for his death. Our hours, Monday through Saturday, are 9 to 4, and on Sunday we're open from 1 to 4. And before too long, we'll be going into our winter hours, and those change from year to year. Obviously, with the last few years of COVID, things were kind of up in the air. So I don't really know, but we do have a website. Just Google the Western Heritage Center, and you'll find our website. In fact, it's a brand new website. We just redesigned it about a month ago. Well, I just hope people will come here and don't plan on just 45 minutes or an hour. Plan on spending a couple of hours here and really take the time to get to know what it was like in the old days. It wasn't that hard, but we're pretty tough stock, and it's worth learning about it.